Good morning, Mustangs. Today is Wednesday, March 24th. We would like to welcome the 7th and 8th graders who returned this week in person. Hey, last week we were given another riddle from Isabel. It was, what can travel around the world but stays in one corner? The answer is a stamp. Here's this week's riddle. I have 13 hearts, but no matter how many times I'm cut, I don't bleed. Tune in next week for the answer.
It's time for birthday shoutouts. Happy birthday to Kaden Adams, Stephanie Davis, Wesley Graff, Bryce Hobson, Soren Yonis, Ethan Slavin, 6th grade teacher Miss Horton, and paraeducator Josh Levino. Next week is Spirit Week. Dress up each day and show some Mustang spirit.
Here are some fellow leadership students modeling our Spirit Days. We have Evan and Charlie for Monday Hat Day. Next is Tess and Malachi for Tuesday Beach Day. Looking relaxed is Jones and me for Wednesday Comfy Cozy Day. Bringing back old school is Cal for Throwback Thursday. And finally, in Addison for Friday School Colors Day. Just in case you didn't know, our school colors are maroon and gray. Go Mustangs!
I thought it was burgundy and gray.
Good morning, Thurgood Marshall Mustangs. Welcome to another episode of the Cornwall Connection. While March is Women's History Month, we also try to make sure that the Cornwall Connection is relevant, reflecting bigger conversations around racial and social justice. For example, did you know hate crimes against Asian Americans have increased at a tremendous rate since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Since COVID shutdowns began last March, thousands of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have faced racist, verbal, and physical attacks or have been shunned by others. Chinatown across the country are struggling due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has impacted these communities far beyond mask requirements and limited restaurant capacity. The apparent rise in anti-Asian poetry over the past year and also led to fewer customers for Asian-run businesses and surge in extreme violence, especially against older people.
On March 16, 2020, Stop AAPI Hate, the national coalition documenting and addressing anti-Asian discrimination during the pandemic, reported that they received nearly 3,800 reports of anti-Asian hate incidents between March 2020 and February 28th of this year. Minutes after the report was released, fatal shooting to 6 Asian women in Atlanta, Georgia, drew national attention to the growing levels of hate crimes experienced by Asian American people.
There's also more that comes with this fatal shooting in Atlanta. The Atlanta police chief spokesman had a press briefing just after they caught the suspect. The Atlanta police chief spokesman worried about the shooter. Yesterday was a really bad day for him, and this is what he did. The Atlanta police chief spokesman excused the shooter's actions by saying he had a bad day, as if a bad day allowed the shooter to take away someone's grandma, mother, or daughter.
A recent report from the Center for the Study of Hate Extremism at California State University, San Bernardino revealed that hate crimes against Asian Americans in 60 cities rose by 150% in 2020. Even though there has been an increase in incidents, anti-Asian racism isn't new. Centuries of anti-Asian racism in the United States have led to this moment. For example, the Chinese Exclusion Acts for the late 80s and the forced colonization, suppression, and then exploitation of Native Hawaiians and Hawaiians' culture to Japanese American internment camps during WWII, not to mention countless microaggressions like, "Where are you from?" "No, really, where are you from?" or assumptions that if someone speaks with an accent that they are dumb or intelligent or un-American.
According to Stop AAPI Hate, Washington ranked 4th highest in the U.S. for harassment against Asian Americans in 2020. That number is ridiculously high and is unacceptable. To combat these hate crimes and raise awareness about hate towards the AAPI community, people took to the streets last week to hold rallies at the Renton City Hall, Hinghey Park in Seattle, and in Maple Valley. Civil rights activist Malcolm X once said, "If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. If you pull it all the way out, that's not progress. Progress is healing the wound that the blow made, and they haven't even pulled the knife out, much less heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there." Racism, hate speech, hate crimes, racially motivated violence is like a knife in the back. We first need to admit that the knife still exists, that racism exists. Now what can we do to pull the knife out and heal the wound?
You might be saying, we're just in middle school. We can't solve all the world's problems. No, we can't solve all the world's problems. But just because you're young doesn't mean we can't make small and big choices in how we treat people, how we acknowledge people, and encourage our differences as strengths that are needed in a healthy, diverse society. In previous Cornwall Connection episodes, we learned about some amazing young inventors who made radical changes in their communities. Let's be the young people make big changes in our community to spread tolerance, acceptance, diversity, social justice, kindness, and compassion.
You don't have to go to a rally to raise awareness about AAPI hate in your community. You just have to educate yourself and, like Ethan said, be kind and encourage others' differences.
Oftentimes, students feel powerless to act upon major events that are happening in the world. So what does it look like to take action and support our Asian American Pacific Islander community? First, empower yourself through knowledge. One way to learn about BIPOC experiences is to read about them from authors using their authentic voices to share their experiences. Recently, I've been popping into your Zoom sessions to promote our Read Woke Challenge, which was started by Cicely Lewis with the Read Woke movement. We talked about that in a former Cornwall Connection. I'm inviting you to learn more about the Read Woke Challenge and to learn more about the AAPI community through books. Check out our school website announcements page for more information about the Read Woke Challenge and how you can be involved. But that's only the first step. What are some other ways that you can be involved? Another way is to encourage and empower others through art, through writing, poetry, videos, you name it. Did you know that May is Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month? Maybe you should do some research and create a display that can go in our school. Those are ways that you can be involved right now. Another way to be involved is to just show up. Did you know that Lacey is hosting their 10th annual cultural celebration virtually this year? This Saturday, you can go online and support local vendors, local shops, local businesses. You can do a scavenger hunt and learn about all of the amazing community that you have right here in Thurston County. Many different world cultures will be celebrated during this event, but the action comes when you choose to support those events by attending and showing up. Brainstorm with your advisory different ways that Thurgood Marshall's community can support our Asian Pacific Islander students and families.
The National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, NAPABA, a group of over 50,000 Asian Pacific American attorneys, judges, law professors, and law students have created a list of resources that include everything from explaining the difference between a hate crime and hate incident to detailing ways to report hate crimes to law enforcement. It has also been launched a pro bono hate crimes task force to offer legal resources to victims. To learn more about hate crimes or ways that you can support the Asian American community, go to napaba.org and stopaapihate.org.
A famous poet, Maya Angelou, once said, "Do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better." We've shared multiple ways today on how we can know better. Now it's time for us to do better.
Here's some information about Thailand. Thailand is a Southeast Asian country. It's known for tropical beaches, opulent royal palaces, ancient ruins, and ornate temples, displaying figures of Buddha. In Bangkok, the capital, ultra-modern cityscape rises next to quiet canal communities and iconic temples of Wat Un and Wat Po, and the Emerald Buddha Temple. This country has never been colonized by any European country. In fact, it's the only country in Southeast Asia that has always been free. You can even see it in the local language. When they say Sitai, which literally means land of the free, it's home to the biggest Buddha statue, the world's tallest hotel, the largest crocodile farm, and the longest single-span suspension bridge.
Around 95% of Thai people are Buddhist. This number makes Buddhism one of the most widespread religions in the country. There are different branches of Buddhism. Thailand practices specifically Theravada Buddhism. The religion practiced in Thailand is somewhat unique to other Buddhist nations, having been infused with many outside elements. For example, Hindu practices and traditional Chinese beliefs have influenced local beliefs, with animist beliefs playing a large role in making Thai Buddhism what it is today.
National pride is very much part of the Thai psyche. The country clings to pride that it's the only nation in Southeast Asia to have never been colonized by European countries. The national anthem is played twice a day, with the expectation that people will stop and stand until the song is finished. The national flag is flown in many places, raised with the national anthem each morning and lowered again in the evenings. The King's Anthem is played before movies starts in cinemas. Many Thais profess an enduring love for their country, extending to religion and the monarchy. Family almost always comes first in Thailand, with a much greater emphasis placed on the extended family than it typically is in Western countries. If you're shocked by the number of siblings a Thai person has, it's highly likely that many of those are cousins. There's no word in Thai for cousin, and people refer to cousins as their brother and sisters. It's normal for extended families to live close to each other, with many Thais maintaining strong links with their home villages, even if they move away for work. It's fairly common for children to be raised by grandparents or aunts and uncles if their parents need to work elsewhere. Such is the role of extended family in everyday life. Younger members of the family are expected to help take care of their older members. Children can support their elders financially or physically. Senior citizen housing developments are rare because of the strong bond of extended family. Extended family households living together and supporting each other through all phases of life.
Thai food was traditionally eaten with the hands while seated on mats or carpets on the floor or coffee table in upper middle class families. These customs are still found in more traditional households. Today, however, most Thais eat with a fork and a spoon. Tables and chairs were introduced as a part of the border westernization drive during the reign of King Mongkut Rama IV. The fork and spoon were introduced by King Chulalongkorn after his return from the tour of Europe in 1897 CE. Important to Thai dining is the practice of kolk, mixing the flavors and textures of different dishes with the rice from one's plate. The food is pushed by the fork, held by the left hand, into the spoon, held in the right hand, which is then brought to the mouth. A traditional ceramic spoon is sometimes used for soup, and knives are not generally used at the table. It is common practice for both the Thais and Hill tribe people who live in Lana and Izam to use sticky rice as an edible implement by shaping it into small and sometimes flattened balls by hand, and only the right hand by custom, which is then dipped into the side dishes and eaten as is.
Stir-fried noodle dishes such as pad thai and curry noodle dishes such as kyang yam chim nan yigo are also eaten with the fork and spoon in the Thai fashion. Thai meals typically consist of rice, kahol, and Thai, with many complementary dishes shared by all. The dishes are served all at the same time, including the soups, and it gives a customary to provide more dishes than there are guests at the table. A Thai family meal would normally consist of rice with several dishes, which should form a harmonious contrast of flavors and textures, as well as preparation methods. Traditionally, a meal would have at least 5 elements: a dip or relish for raw cooked vegetables. Kyong chim is the most crucial component of any Thai meal. The other elements would include a clear soup, perhaps a spicy tom yum or a mellow tom tuet, a curry or stew, essentially any dish identified with the kiang prefix, a deep-fried dish, and a stir-fried dish of meat, fish, seafood, or vegetables. I need to go now and get my dad to buy me some lunch. I want Thai food now.
Welcome back to another Teacher Spotlight and Country Spotlight. Today's teacher is Miss Wood, and the country is Thailand. So let's meet our English language development teacher, Miss Wood, and learn about the country of Thailand. Miss Wood, could you tell us about your family and experiences in Thailand?
Definitely. So I was actually born in Phoenix, Arizona, but my mother's from Thailand and my father is American. And towards the end of elementary school, they decided to have our family move there. They were Christian missionaries, and so we moved to a small town in northeast Thailand called Mang Thai. And my first friends there lived next door, and they taught me how to fish, and we swam in the Mekong River and rode our bikes all around town, and it was just a lot of fun. And so we lived there until I graduated from high school, and my parents stayed, and I came to the US for college.
What were your feelings about moving to Thailand? Did you already speak the language before you moved?
So my feelings about moving there, I was actually really excited because Thai culture had been a part of our home already, you know, with my mom being from there. And so I was excited for the chance to go and meet that side of our family. I had grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins I'd never met before. And I got to see the village where my mom grew up and the city where my parents got married. So I was just really, really excited about it. As far as the language, I only know a little bit. My parents mainly used English at home, and they would speak Thai in front of us kids to have conversations they didn't want us to know about. And that changed when we moved to Thailand because my friends taught me a lot and my language teachers taught me a lot, so they couldn't do that anymore.
Can you share a Thai greeting with us?
Sure. So to say hello, you say Sawat Di Ka if you're a female, or you say Sawat Di Kap if you're a male. And when you do that, you raise your hands up to about level with your nose, and you don't bow, but you bend a little bit at the knees if you're a kid and you're showing respect. Yeah. So you just go like this, and you just say Sawat Di Ka or Sawat Di Kap. That was awesome.
What was your favorite experience living in Thailand?
My favorite experience living in Thailand, there's so many, but one that really stands out to me is Thai New Year, which isn't in January, it's in April, and it isn't one day, it's actually 3 days. And the entire country has this massive water fight for 3 days, 3 full days. And so everything pauses, you don't go to work, you don't go to school, you come out, people line the streets, they've got big buckets of water, they have hoses. It's also the hottest time of the year, so it's a really nice time to have that holiday, but it's so much fun. If you go outside, you have to expect to get wet. So that's if you're a teacher, a police officer, a Buddhist monk, someone who owns the store next door, you're allowed to splash them too. And it's awesome.
What are your favorite Thai foods or drinks?
I really miss the fruit. To be honest, there's a lot of street food and there's vendors with carts that are attached to bicycles or motorcycles. And I remember buying fresh mangoes, but not like the yellow ones. They're still green, but they're crunchy and sweet. You can dip them in this great sauce that's made of fish sauce and chilies and sugar, and it's delicious. Yeah.
What do you wish other people knew about Thai culture or Thailand in general?
There's 2 things that really come to mind. One is that Thailand has a king. It's a constitutional monarchy, and Thai people revere their king. He is extremely valuable and important to them. So it's important not to say anything insulting about the king to Thai people that will really hurt them. And then the other thing is, did you know Thailand's called the Land of Smiles? That's what it's known as a country. And that's because many, many Thai people are really friendly and warm, and they love visitors. But it's also important to know that the smile in Thailand can also mean embarrassment, or it can mean fear. So if you're talking to a Thai person and something embarrassing is happening and they're smiling, it doesn't mean they're making fun of you or they don't understand. So it's really important not to assume and just to ask questions about those kinds of things. It can be really easy to have misunderstandings.
How did your experiences growing up in Thailand influence you becoming a teacher?
My time in Thailand had a lot to do with my decision to become a teacher, and that was mainly in observing my mom and her learning different languages. I became fascinated with that process, and also watching her move between her culture and American culture, culture became very important to me, and that's why I love working with you guys. I want to learn more about other places and all the places that you're from, Vietnam and Cambodia and Guatemala and El Salvador. It taught me to love new places and new experiences and to ask questions and not to assume about what a person's cultural identity is just based on where they're from or what they look like or the language they speak.
Okay. Well, thank you, Miss Wood, and thank you for sharing about Thailand with us. And we hope to learn more about more cultures and more countries and spread that knowledge and spread the love.
It's nice to have students back on campus. Thanks for watching another edition of the Mustang Message. Remember to always be compassionate and kind. Here at Thurgood Marshall, where everyone learns, everyone grows, and everyone belongs.